Thank you for being here. I'm glad things go wrong for me, and I hope they go right for everyone else that's presenting this evening. The beginning of this might not make quite as much sense without seeing the 2 minutes of that video that I just wanted to play you. But I wanted to say that the things we do in our lives really do matter, and they will stay with us until we die. Unfortunately for a lot of us, that might be a very long time if ARC and a lot of the people in this room have anything to do with it. So we should be mindful. I'm James, for those of you that I haven't met, which is pretty much none of you. Thank you for being here. You've all been a part of ARC, and this is, for almost all of you, at least the second time you've been in the room. Yeah, I'm James. I'm James of ARC, as some people kind of like now call me. For some reason, I've always cared about other people, about other places, and about other problems in the world. I'm not really sure why, but as I've traveled more around the world and seen more places and met more people, I've realized actually that maybe it's actually the Britishness inside of me. And maybe defining being British is a little bit difficult, but I think one of the things that is actually quite central to British culture is a sense of duty. And I think I felt a sense of duty to do as much as I can for the world for as long as I can actually remember. And I broadly believe it is everyone's responsibility to do as much as they can for everyone that is, maybe much less fortunate than us kind of in this room. But where did it start? I was a chartered accountant where I started my career. I'm messing this all up, apologies. Would someone press the presentation button at the top? I started back at EY. That's where I started my career. I was a chartered accountant, and I was moving the richest people, the richest companies, and broadly capital around the world, and around the international agreements that bind countries to each other and countries to the entities, those people and those companies. I then was in venture. One of my old bosses is in the room somewhere here. Joe, partner at Playfair Capital, here in the front. Look at that. I was then coding for a little bit, badly. I then ran a food delivery business into the ground. My co-founder from that is here in the room as well, Simone. Don't ask him about it. But then, sort of broke in 2016. I decided to start working in Web3. And I don't have an amazing story about buying a whole bunch of Bitcoin or something back then. I was bankrupt from the business that Simone and I had been running. But I wanted to work in Web3, not for the money, but because as I looked at that industry, everything it was building was the most important thing in the world. I remember, I think I updated my LinkedIn and said, now building in the future of power. Because for me, that was everything it was about: the future of money, politics, governance, data, accounting, privacy, identity. It was all being built in Web3. So I got involved for very sort of, philosophical reasons, and was lucky to do okay. And then in 2021, it was the time of the monkey JPEGs. And there was a bit of a clash between, I guess, the reasons I got involved and what everyone seemed to care about. Now, NFTs and art and all these things, it's all incredible, right? And it's valuable, and it absolutely has a place. But it wasn't the reasons that I got involved. And so I went elsewhere for a little while and started building a traditional B2B SaaS business, which I sold last year. And as part of doing that, I realized actually that despite the shortcomings of our space, the rest of the world is worse. We're just honest about it, or at least it's transparent to see. The greed, the meme coins, yeah, it's there. Everyone else just pretends that they're not doing this stuff in other industries. Honestly, it's all worse. And as I realized that the rest of the world sucked, but I also realized that a lot of the systems that we've been building, and a lot of the reasons that I got involved in this space back in 2016, hadn't really come to affect things. You know, the rest of the world had not changed. And actually, you know, if you look at the rest of the world, let's imagine Bitcoin does replace fiat and becomes the global standard and the global reserve currency. Like, what have we solved? You know, every war will still be being fought. There'll still be 1 billion people impoverished. There'll still be 500 million in famine. This is just one of 100 steps that need to happen to actually see the world that we, you know, think that we might be able to build. And there's lots of people in this room, and there's lots of people in this industry that are building other steps of these 100. But the problem is at the minute that these steps keep on being captured by the existing system. And if you're building things which get captured by the existing system, when you do something the existing system doesn't like, it comes and knocks at your door and it serves you notice. If you ignore the notice, they turn up with police and they try and put you in jail. If you ignore the police, they might turn up with tanks. And one of the things I love about this industry as well is that we live in the real world. And those things they say are not hypothetical. These things basically happen, maybe not every day in our industry, but they're happening frequently because we're doing things that matter and the existing system does resist us. If we want these digital systems that we've been building to actually win, we need to win in the physical world as well. We need to build a physical layer for our digital systems. We actually need to build cities. We need to build entire countries. And this is what Ark is here to build. Ark is building a physical layer that will respect the digital systems that we have been building and will allow us to unlock the true value that we think these systems might bring. It starts with the West's most successful city. That's goal one. There might be a few steps before that, but that's goal one. And actually building cities is not that hard. There are loads of cities. We're in one right now. There are many cities that are empty. So it really is possible. But are we really building a city? I think actually what we're trying to build here is a whole new world. A world that's not built for Web 2 or for traditional finance, but actually it's built for us and the future that we think is possible. It's a world where there will still be suffering, because we know that at least a little bit of suffering is necessary for greatness. It's a world where there will still be pain, because again, it helps us understand what joy is. But it's a world where builders that want to solve these problems will be able to build. And they will not have people that stand in their way trying to solve these problems. And if we're allowed to build that world, it will be a just world. It will be a world where truth and love and freedom does actually prevail. So, this is what Ark building. This is what Ark is building. And to take it back to the easy part, building cities. It's not all easy. There's a reason we have empty cities around the world. It's because whilst you can build them, how do you get people to live there? And actually, where do you even start? And actually, this is what Ark has been. This is day 30. This is day 30 of the start. And this, at least for Ark and for us, is how we, is our actual first step in building a city, and hopefully at least making attempts at making that better world. So that's why we're here. And we've been going for the last 30 days, and what we're doing for the next 25 minutes or so is listening to some of the people that have been a part of the 30 days here in Lisbon. These people, and I think this is what the key characteristics are of people that are in Ark, are people that don't just believe a better world is possible. They are people that are actually building it. So, with that said, thank you again for being here. And I'd like to hand over to our first speaker, Eggers from Genelec, who will take the floor now. Thank you very much, everyone. So, these are some of the people that we've had in ARC over the last 30 days. And if ARC is trying to be anything, it is a foundation for great people to do great things and to make it maybe a little bit easier for them to get there, or actually maybe more importantly, to allow them to do even more than they thought was possible. That's ARC, and I guess the question is like, that's the last 30 days, what's the next step? So, I'd love to tell you that first is ARC is going to come to Austin. So we're going to run this same experience in Austin around South by Southwest. We're then going to do another one in London, and we will come back and do something again here in Lisbon. This, whether we do it every 6 months, every 12 months, I'm not 100% sure yet. But if you'd love to get involved in helping make this even a greater success next time, I'd love to hear from you. A quick story on that, and maybe that sheds some light on the things that we care about at ARC. Some of you may know I don't read. I'm not really into books. And actually, I want this to be a thing that ARC in any city or country that we maybe build for a hot take actually takes the heart. I want us to be the anti-reading nation. Why? Because I want us to be the pro-thinking nation. And for any hour I think that anyone spends reading, I think you should be spending 10 thinking. And I think actually if you look at one of the main problems we have in the world, it's because people just do as they're told. You read your book and you do as you're told. You need to think for yourself. And so let's join the anti-reading club. let's think for yourself. But I brought this segue up because one of the last books I did read at university was The Evolution of Cooperation by Robert Axelrod. And considering my anti-book stance, I would still recommend you have a read. But I probably distorted what this book actually says over over the 15 years since I read it. But it's one of the most important things in it is it talks about a computer program called Tit for Tat. Anyone heard of the Tit for Tat program? Created by Anatole Rappaport. And basically, there were a whole bunch of simulations. You were simulating worlds, and you were creating algorithms that would try and win in those worlds. And the short version of the story is that Tit for Tat was, for the longest period of time, the most successful algorithm that existed. It won every single game. And to keep the story short, the key characteristic that Tit for Tat had was that it cooperated. It defaulted to cooperating with everyone. And actually, if there's been a value or a position that I've actually repeated quite often about ARC, is that we are here to cooperate, and far from out-competing, I hope to out-cooperate everyone. So this is an open invitation, but not quite to everybody. Probably the only type of freedom I don't want there to be at ARC are free riders. I think this is another problem we have in society. People rely on other people to do things for them. And so, we've been very anti-free rider. Every single person that's been in what we call core here at ARC is paid. There's been no exceptions. Everyone's been here on the same terms. And actually, it's not just about it's not just not free riding. Good intentions are not enough. And so I think that if you're someone that doesn't want to be a free rider, someone that doesn't just have good intentions that pave our way to hell, but is actually able to act as well, then I really, really, really would invite you to come and get involved in ARC. This is the beginning, someone's going to be first, of our first public social channel of any description. It's been very private today. This is a Telegram group that will be able to keep you up to date with what is happening next at ARC. And I'll bring this back up at the end, but but just bring us back. Like, this is the very, very beginning. I was talking to some of Core before you all arrived today, and I was saying that I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen next, and I'm not sure what the story of ARC will end up being. But I do know, and I guarantee that all of you here will tell the story that you were here at the beginning again in your life, if not 100 times more. I'm really interested to hearing you tell those stories in the future, and for being a part of your world for hopefully a very, very long time, if we have anything to do with it. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for being here at the beginning. I look forward to much longer together. There's pizza here. Thank you so much. Oh, you know what? You know what, guys? One more thing.